shit, wrong side. All right, there we go. Is it live yet though? All right, yeah, we've been live for 10 seconds. All right, so cool. Check this out. My CPU could not handle rendering this video at the required 1080p. So what I did was live stream it, because when I'm live streaming it, YouTube has this thing that records it, so it works like that. But look, this is gonna be a quick, probably like 30-minute live stream. I might, if I have some time, I might take some questions towards the end. But I just wanted to get my ideas of the spinoffs out of the way, and I'm glad I actually waited, because we actually got some more information from the author himself, the creator of the universe, our one true god, if you will, in Planetos. So yeah, what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna move myself from Ned. Right, I'm gonna drop myself down here in this corner, and then, all right, everybody say bye bye to Ned real quick. Let's see, what are we doing here? See you, Ned. All right, wait, no, see you, Ned. All right, so I have this article from Watchers on the Wall pulled up, and I'm going to skimmer through it, and then we'll hop on over to the debunking article, if you will. All right, so let me make sure my face is in order. Let me make sure my audio is in order, and like I said, this is probably only going to be like 30 minutes, tops. According to my phone, it hasn't gone live yet. Hang on a second. This would have, of course, been edited out. You know what I mean? All right, so wait. There we go, but it's just got the wrong thumbnail. I always like to do this before I get carried away, and then I realize that everything is fucked up. What are y'all doing on Friday night? Most people are probably out on the town, out at the bar. Not this guy. I don't drink, so there's no point in going out. Why is my phone? Come on, dude. All right, there we go. There we go. All right, cool. So let me make sure the audio is good. All right, there we go. Cool. Damn it, I did not mean to close that out. All right, I'll pull up the chat in a little bit. Like I said, this is only going to be about 30 minutes. All right, so according to this first article, glimpsing through, it starts off with, according to a report from Entertainment Weekly, HBO is in the process of developing 4 different ideas from various writers to help keep Westeros on our screens for the foreseeable future. Screw the foreseeable future. If we're getting, this was my initial impression from when I first read the article. I was like, look, I want this to be like a Star Wars type situation. I want Kathleen Kennedy, I think it's her name, I want someone like that in the HBO world to come out on stage at like maybe the San Diego Comic-Con. Come out on stage and be like, hey, look, you're going to get a new Game of Thrones season of some type, whether it's a spinoff or the original series, for the next, 10 years or something. I don't know. That would be awesome. So that was my initial, skepticism, my initial wanting. All right, so this kind of goes into the different people that were in charge and all that stuff. And then they actually put out another article where they were saying what they think the 4 spinoffs would be. I'll list those in a little bit, but let's get to the meat of this. The main point is to talk about, basically what Martin said. And once again, this is Watchers on the Wall. I will link this website in the description, of course. I forgot to do that before I started, but yeah, so anyway. The first major point, the author confirms that that all of the potential shows are prequels, not sequels. So it's not going to be, basically, we probably won't be seeing any of our characters that are in the show right now in this spinoff, unless they're a lot younger, and I'll get into that later. Certain characters that are really old obviously could have been around, if it's a prequel, but that's what George wanted to clear up. They're not going to be taking place after the events of Season 8 of Game of Thrones. They're going to be taking place, my first one, we're getting this Targaryen book called Fire and Blood. It's George's. He actually said this in his Not a Blog post, and he said it several times. It's his Silmarillion, which is Tolkien's book that he actually didn't finish before he died, and it was kind of like all over the place, and then his son finished it, so it kind of reads insanely. But that's what George is working on, his version of that for House Targaryen. It's the complete Targaryen history. And honestly, that's kind of what I want. That's my number one choice for the prequel is. But anyway, it'd be cool to see something like that. See, I got sidetracked and off track there. All right. Let's see. None of these new shows will be spinning off in the traditional sense. Some of them might not be in Westeros. So, we've got a few other continents. The one that we're most familiar with on the show, pretty much Westeros and Essos. You know what I mean? So if it were to take place on another continent, it would likely be maybe, in Essos. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to jump to conclusions because I could be completely wrong. There might be another article coming out in a week saying this is the first development news, and then we get potential titles or some shit like that, or a subject on what the spinoff will be, or the prequel spinoff. He actually called it something, which we haven't gotten to that part yet. Martin reconfirms his involvement in the new project, saying yes, he actually is involved, stating that he first met with HBO about developing a new show back in August, which was, if I'm not mistaken, that was one of the original rumors started pilot. Obviously, once we heard that we're only getting 2 seasons left, and one's 7 episodes and the other one's 6, that's when people, I guess the public, if you will, or HBO really started pressuring Dan and Dave and George for some kind of spinoff news. And actually, last year at the Comic-Con, they said that they didn't even really start talking about it. So the Comic-Con, I think, is in July. So then maybe a few months after that, they started talking about it, and that's when George said they initially met. Let me just read this shit instead of commenting on every little thing. He was supposed to pitch them 2 series. One of those ideas that he pitched to them, that's what one of the 4 spinoffs is going to be. And honestly, skipping ahead a little bit, out of the 4 spinoffs, they'll probably only get 2 that actually film a pilot. I don't know how that works. I'm not sure how Hollywood does it. Obviously they have enough money to film 4 different pilots, but hopefully we get 2 shows out of that. You know what I mean? And George goes on to say, it was stated that some of the reports that I'm actually working with 2 of the 4 writers. That's not quite right. I've actually been working with all 4 of the writers. Every one of the 4 has visited me here in Santa Fe. I saw this really funny GIF, whatever the fuck it's called, of George in his backyard in New Mexico, and he's New Mexico. What the fuck is that? New Mexico, and he's doing some weird thing, and then he jumps into his pool and he's floating on his back and shit. It was regarding of why we haven't seen Winds of Winter yet. Some of them more than once, he's visited with them more than once, and we've spent days together discussing these ideas, the history of Westeros, the world beyond, and sundry details found only in the world of Ice and Fire and the Lands of Ice and Fire. He's I had to plug my other books real quick that are finished and are out. When we weren't drinking margaritas and eating chile rellenos, and visiting Meow Wolf, which I don't know what the fuck is. Maybe it's a bar or something. I don't know. That's what they were doing when they weren't drinking margaritas, eating some kind of chiles, and drinking. He says they're all amazing talents, and I'm excited to be working with them. In between visits, I've been in touch with them via phone text. Basically, he's keeping in touch with them, and that's actually awesome because we want him to have as much we want him to stick his entire hand in the cookie jar being Targaryen history, because that's what I think the spinoff is going to be. I think it's going to be... Now, look, I've read this already, and I'm sure all of you guys have, because this is old fucking news at this point. So I'm just going to jump right to it. I think George, he stated in his not a blog post, is basically he doesn't want to make the same mistake he did with Game of Thrones, in the sense that there were only 5 books done, and the show has passed that. So now... I've been saying this since I've found out, we've been waiting for this book. I think he's waiting for the show to finish. After this season comes out, we only got a little less than 2 months before the new season starts. Hopefully a week before we get that fucking trailer. I think he wants to wait for the show to end before he puts out Winds of Winter. And it might not even be right when that comes out. It might be a year or 2 after that. I think what he's going to do is, the major fuck-up points where the show does with the ending, even though they're going to end, similarly, in the same realm, they're going to have, some of the major points are going to be similar. but I think he wants to learn from the show's mistakes. Like, just like how some people, not everyone, but some people think the show did certain things better than how the books did them early on in, like, the first season and stuff. So with that being said, I think George is he's taking that same mentality towards finishing Winds of Winter. He's going to fix, like, obviously Stannis dying. Stannis is going to die eventually in the books, but I'm just saying he's still alive right now, and that's just an idea. You know what I mean? Like, different stuff that the show fucks up on, he's going to do differently in the books. With that being said, I think that's why we haven't gotten Winds of Winter yet, and I think that's what his goal is. He doesn't want to make that mistake, and he's been working on Fire and Blood for a while. We have Aegon's Conquest is pretty well detailed. You know, we do have a decent amount of information on a line of Targaryen kings, the Blackfire rebellions, the Greens versus the Blacks. We've got a lot of Targaryen stuff, and I want that to be, you know, one of the spinoffs. Honestly, if they do it right? If they have multiple spinoffs, they'll make them short. And I know you're probably like, why the fuck would you want that? Well, I don't want that, but I want it to be sort of contained. Like, let's say we get 5 seasons, right, of one spinoff, and they can cover, I don't know, maybe the first 3 Blackfire rebellions. So after a season in, they skip decades. Like, oh, that would be awesome. And then they could also cover, you know, another time period similar to that. Like, yeah, you could do so much with these spinoffs. Let me check the chat. I'm not even sure what's going on in that. Like I said, this is going to be a short live stream, so I just wanted to get my thoughts out. Yeah, while they're in my head. My phone's taking forever to load up. All right, so, oh, damn it, knew that was gonna happen. Shout out to Amber, shout out to Dylan, shout out to Dan. What's up, y'all? Wait, I missed someone. Hey, Julie. Shout out to everyone in the chat right now. All right. So let's see. I've been doing this for. All right, so I'll say about another 15 minutes. It's gonna be really short. Let's see. And honestly, this next part I was really disappointed in because I thought for sure, you know, I think it's 3 novellas. There's already like 3 parts, and George said he wants to do 8 to the Tales of Dunk and Egg, and he hasn't finished those. So that's why he said there's definitely not going to be a Dunk and Egg. Now, either there is definitely not going to be a Dunk and Egg, or there is, and that's one of the ones they're doing, and maybe that's what he stopped working on Winds of Winter, and he started working on Dunk and Egg, and he's like close to putting out enough that they're only going to cover. I don't know. I was disappointed. Let's just take him just for the point of this live stream. Let's just take him for what he's worth. And he said, we're not doing Dunk and Egg. Eventually, sure, I'd love that. And so many of you would. But I've only written and published 3 novellas to date. And there are at least 7 or 8 or 10 that I want to write. This guy is ambitious. We all know how slow I am and how fast a television show can move. That is very, very true. Well, when they do it Dan and Dave style, right? Not in an insulting way. I don't want to repeat what happened with Game of Thrones itself, where the show goes ahead of the books. When the day comes out that I finish telling all my tales from Dunk and Eggs, then we'll do a TV show about them. But that day is still a long ways off, obviously. We will probably get Winds of Winter before that. He says we're not doing Robert's Rebellion either. I know thousands of you want that. No, dude, try millions. Like, Game of Thrones, I think, averaged somewhere between, like, 17 and 20 million people per, per episode. I was going to say per season. No, per, like, every time the show came on. Every Sunday night. He said, I know there's a petition. There's a petition? I didn't know that. By the time I finish writing A Song of Ice and Fire, you will know every important thing that has happened in Robert's Rebellion. So there'd be no surprises, no suspensions, no crazy revelations left in that story. And that actually makes a lot of sense. That kind of worked even though he said he doesn't want to repeat the same mistake with Game of Thrones, the TV show is doing certain revelations. Like, Jon is still dead. He's laying dead in the books right now. He could have warged. I'm not saying he didn't, but the show brought him back. That was kind of a revelation. Now he's probably not going to be brought back the same way, but that was one of those revelations. So he was saying that it was a mistake, but I get his point. Robert's Rebellion, by the time, I think by the end, if not by the end of Season 7, halfway through Season 8, we're going to know pretty much what happened at the Turning Harrenhal, Jon's true lineage, and that whole, although, and that's the thing, like, the books, yes, are going to be different. I don't think Jon's parents are quite the same. I don't really know. That's a discussion for another day. So, that's pretty much all of what I want to discuss. I know this was a super short version of that, but like I said, I was going to record this and make this a little video and just drop it, but it wouldn't record in 1080p. So I guess what I'll do here is take some... see if there are any questions that I can't get to or that I've missed. Amber says, so I felt like an idiot earlier because until today I never realized Ned was also in Lord of the Rings. Yes, he plays Boromir, if I'm not mistaken. One does not simply walk into Mordor. I like that. Dan says, I would love to see a Rise of the Baratheon or takeover of the Targaryen dynasty. That would be dope. They do something even further back and do something with the First Men and the Children of the Forest, and we could get all those creatures that were around that got pushed back north of the wall and that are now probably in the ranks of the White Walkers' army. I would love to see that. That would be sick. I like that. Ahai in the original Long Night, so it's almost like a parallel to the story that we're having right now, except for we don't really... that's a good one. I like that. That's Amber says that. Amber says Ahai... I skipped over. Dan also said Ned and Robb in the early fighting days. Well, according to George, we won't be getting that. But Amber says Ahai in the original Long Night. The original Long Night and the Azor Ahai prophecy came from there. What's up, big dog? 12088. All right, so that's pretty much gonna be wrapping up this. I wouldn't even call it a live stream. I've been streaming for like 20 minutes or something. I don't know. All right, but yeah, so I have. What the fuck? Ads playing on my videos again, which is awesome. I'm not complaining, but that was random. So yeah, that was pretty much it. This was I was gonna do a video to it, but by the time, because I have scheduled videos, so a video that you guys are gonna be seeing in a week and a half from now, I've already made it. You know what I mean? So yeah. So anyway. By the time that came out, I was unable to fit it into my schedule, and I wanted to do it properly, so I was going to plan out this huge, long live stream, and then I decided that, I'd rather put my efforts into videos, shorter videos, more of like refresher courses, because this new season is coming up. So if you've noticed my past couple videos, I try to put a little bit of a character breakdown in the beginning, and then talk about whatever my theory or whatever, my speculation is. So, with that being said, kind of let you guys in onto a little bit of secret of my process. I'm not going to tell you what the next video is. Actually, if you go check out my Patreon and become a certain level Patreon member, you'll get early access to it. But yeah, videos will be up on Sunday. I'll say that. I'll give that to you guys. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully, this was more manageable to watch. And I didn't put live stream on the thumbnail because this wasn't really a live stream. This was like me giving my opinion and going over what George R. R. Martin said, and I kind of did a lazily job of that, but I want the spinoff to be about the Targaryen history. I think it would be awesome if we had a shortened, almost like a mini-series, but a little bit longer than that. We get, 10-episode seasons, 50-minute episodes, and we get, let's say 4 or 5 seasons, and it tells, maybe the first 3 Blackfire Rebellions, or maybe the first 2, and then we skip, a time skip in between, each season or something. That would be nuts. And then you tie certain things back in together. It would be cool. It would be cool. I don't know. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Please slap a like on this video if you enjoy my content here at Sir Hunt's Reviews. And I wanted to do this thing again because it was kind of funny. Oh, shit. I moved the wrong thing. Okay. Yeah, there we go. There we go. I'm in front of Ned again. Hey, look, I am Ned Stark. What does he say? The one who swings the sentence must carry out the judgment. I butchered that. All right, but yeah, I want to thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this. My name's Mark. This has been Sir Hunt's... Shit. This has been Sir Hunt's Reviews.